Hello and welcome to another episode of the Firearms Insider Gun and Gear Review Podcast. This is episode 97 and part 3 of the 3-Gun Special. On this show we showcase gun reviews, gear, and anything else a gun enthusiast may be looking for. We strive to evaluate products from an unbiased and honest perspective. I'm your host, Ryan Cross from the Firearms Radio Network, your source for broadcasts for shooters, hunters, and gun enthusiasts. Bandwidth for this episode is brought to you by Patriot Patch Co. You can order some sweet PVC 3D vinyl patches that are custom created by yours truly from patriotpatch.co. That's the website for that. So right now we've got a couple new pre-order patches going on. And of course, we've got Bullet Bill from Super Mario. And then we've also got some In God We Trust narrower patches and a Hello, my name is name tag patch that you can write whatever you want and get yourself in trouble with your sergeant or your wife or your boss, whatever the case may be. So check that out at www.patriotpatch.co. This week I got Chad, I got Tony Simon, and we actually got the NC Gun Geek Rob coming again on the show. How's it going, guys?
It's going good here.
It's going great.
Awesome. So one at a time, what did y'all do in guns this week?
Nothing. That's what I did.
Yeah, I just went to the range with some of my new toys. That's about it.
And I went to the range with my new toy, and it's awesome.
And all I did was try to get sponsors for something I'm going to tell you about here in about a minute.
Cool. I actually went to the beach with my my significant other, and I carried the whole time, so I guess that counts. It sucks. There needs to be some kind of holster specifically for the beach, for being a little bit more lighter carry inside the swim shorts, but just walking around in some heavier duty cargo shorts, that Alien Gear Cloak Tech 3 holster was pretty comfortable. Anyway, so we got some Facebook charity events that revolve around shooting that we want to tell our listeners about. First off, we got one from Chad. Why don't you tell us about this Man of Steel charity?
Okay, it is the Man of Steel multi-gun charity event, and what it is a local firearms trainer was hurt in a firearms training accident, and basically we're putting the match on to help raise money for his medical bills, and basically 100% of what gets paid in match fees goes straight to him. I guess there's going to be some raffles. So far, I think Era 3 sent us a box full of like shirts and stickers and patches, so there's be some of that on the prize table, and we got some more stuff coming, so that's about it.
Cool. And Drob, what did you have going on for your Facebook event?
Well, this week in New Hill, North Carolina, there's a one team, one fight shoot put on by Woody's Charity Subgun and Suppressor Shoot. It's ran by for the 31 Heroes charity, and the proceeds are to benefit 31 Heroes charity. The cost is $15 an adult, $10 for teenagers, and kids under 10 are free. And it's basically to raise money for families of the Extortion 17 tragedy, as well as other veterans to celebrate from PTSD and TBI treatments. And it should be a really good thing, really good way to raise some funds for veterans who gave everything they had for this country. I'm going to be out there probably working with one of the vendors during the event. Is basically you go out there and you can bring your own ammo and shoot their guns. There'll be silencers, short sub guns, full auto guns, you name it, a bunch of stuff up there. About I think a dozen or so vendors are going to be there. Should be a really, really good time. And it's this Saturday, the 29th, I believe, or the 4 days. When's this thing going to go live? The show?
Friday.
Usually the following Friday.
Okay. So this might have already happened by the time this show makes it on the air.
Well, we still get often a lot of listeners in the middle of the week that catch the YouTube broadcast.
Okay,
So
yeah, it'll be this coming Saturday, the 29th, from 9 to 5.
And
Cool.
who doesn't like to shoot machine guns?
Oh God, no.
Right.
No, me, I hate machine guns. I don't never want to shoot another machine gun again.
Chris Christie just told me to tell you I hate machine guns too.
Well, I just told Chris Christie he can. Never mind.
You don't need
Tell
a,
them, mark this time for censorship.
you don't need a machine gun to open a can of or a bag of Twinkies, so it's really not necessary in the state of New Jersey. Is that right?
He doesn't open bags of Twinkies, and that's insulting. He shoves them in and just spits out the wrapper like seeds.
I thought you were going to say he uses a tactical knife to open them up or something like that.
Oh no, he just swallows them whole and spits them out like watermelon seeds.
Oh, that is an image that's not needed to see.
Wow.
Wow, man.
So while we're on the subject of cool things going on, why don't you go ahead and tell the listeners, Tony, what's going on for the Second is for Everyone?
The Second is for Everyone shoot is going down on September 17th, 6 p.m. At Gun for Hire Range in Woodland Park, New Jersey. This is my 4th event. So far, we have totally exceeded the number of people I'm allotted. So we're going to take over the entire range, more than likely, if everyone shows up. It's going to be great. I set it up to get people of color involved in the political side of the Second Amendment, but pretty much I extended it to anybody who wants to get involved in New Jersey's Second Amendment fight. While you come in there, when you show up, we have about half an hour of classroom time where we hand out a lot of things, including have a few raffles going with some pretty good stuff. Last time we had stuff from Rob Pincus raffled out. This time we have stuff from Larry Vickers, Springfield Armory, Ruger. So we have a lot of cool giveaway stuff. We also inform you about New Jersey gun laws. Give you a newsletter from the state's ANJRPC, which is the New Jersey state chapter of the NRA. And then we go have fun with over 200 rental guns at Gun for Hire. Whatever guns you bring, what guns I bring. I'll be bringing my, what did I call it? A disruptor? My AR-15 disruptor.
Devastator, is that what it was?
Disaster Pater.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
right.
Ryan made up some word. I don't know what it was. It was truly embarrassing the way he said. Anyway, that's what I have going on the 7th. Contact me on Simon Says Train if you want to attend. If you can't make it in September, I'm thinking about having another one in October right before the elections, so we can tell you who are the pro-gun candidates in New Jersey.
Right on.
All
So
two
we
of
got
them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Those guys are
So we got links in the show notes for this episode to all those charity events. Also, one more announcement: if you want to looking to buy another Kydex holster, looking to save a little bit of money, if you go on over to Bravo Concealment and you use the promo code RTTCombo10, you get 10% off your next order. And so that's going to be a promo code available to us as long as my review's up, which is going to be forever. So go on over to Bravo Concealment and enjoy 10% off your order, especially if you're looking for a something to run in competition, a nice, sturdy, outside the waistband Kydex holster. Bravo makes some great stuff there. So check that out, RTT Combo 10.
Did you realize how long that review is going to be up?
Yeah, I mean 10% is pretty standard for giving somebody a discount. So I think that they should see at least a 10% increase in sales from all my listeners, like all 3 of them. So it should be great. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. So we talked about, this is part 3 of the 3-gun special. Part 1, we talked about some nice shotguns. Part 2, we talked about some nice pistols. So logically, part 3, we ought to talk about some carbines. So that's what we're going to do. First up, we got the Armalite M15 18-inch 3-gun rifle. So this is offered by Armalite for the MSRP of $1,599. So $1,600. That might seem steep, but if you don't have an AR-15 or you don't feel like Frankensteining one together and buying a complete build that is kind of purposely built for competing, This would be definitely a new shotgun a new carbine this year that should fit the bill. So it's 5.56 or 223. It's got an 18-inch stainless steel barrel with a 1-8 right-hand twist rate. The muzzle device is a Armalite turnable brake, which we'll talk about a little bit later. It's got a 2-inch military standard 1913 rail section forward at the 12 o'clock position of the handguard. It is a 15-inch free float handguard. The stock is kind of unique. It looks a lot like the Magpul PRS, but it's lighter. It's like half a pound lighter. It's a little bit more skeletonized down there in the movable parts areas.
I'm gonna butt in and say it looks exactly like a Luth AR stock.
Like a what?
Luth. It's LUTHAR dash
Okay.
AR. Yeah, they make a stock like that, and I think that's probably what it is.
Okay.
That actually is what it is.
That's
what
it
it
looks
is.
identical.
So they call that the MBA-1 lightweight precision adjustable stock from Luth. It's got a ambidextrous safety, Timney single-stage trigger, a Raptor ambidextrous charging handle, hard anodized aluminum, obviously pretty standard there. Overall length is 40 and a half inches with a weight of 7.8 pounds, and it does come with one 30-round PMag. So that muzzle brake, man, what do you guys think of that?
Well, see, if I can't have this whole rifle, there's two things I want off of it, and that's the stock and the muzzle brake. Because I was reading this, the muzzle brake is adjustable, which is pretty cool. I guess it's got these little like set screw vents on the side and on the top, kind of, and I guess you can adjust it tune it to whatever ammo you're running, so that it recoils perfect for you.
Well,
yeah, that muzzle brake looks neat. It looks freaking bad.
I finally put a muzzle. I had to put a muzzle device on this. One of Jersey's rules: I can't have a flash hider, so I can have a comp or I can have a muzzle brake. This is a compensator kind of thing they have on here, and pretty much this is the same kind I have on mine, or at least designed with the 3 holes in the side. I noticed with this thing at the range the first time I shot it, which was last Wednesday, it got rid of all kick. I mean, I never came target by shooting this thing standing, just sending rounds downrange. It was like shooting a .22. It never came off target. So I can't imagine how much better or whatnot that an adjustable comp can be. I mean, when you're shooting multiple, when you put them in the A zone, it just doesn't come out of the A zone.
Yeah, the only thing that makes these kind of comps, they don't make the muzzle jump. They make the person behind it jump from the loud noise.
Yes, it does. I didn't know. I'm zeroing my sight. I'm sitting beside a guy. And we're on the same bench. We're sharing a bench. He's zeroing his scope. I'm doing my iron sights. I pull the trigger. Bang! I look over. His hat flew off. I look down the line. Everyone's standing up looking to see what I'm shooting. I was like, how loud could it possibly be? He jumps on it, shoots it. I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, it's really, really loud.
Yeah.
And the wind hitting you in the face doesn't help either.
Yeah, a good functioning muzzle brake is not the way to make friends at the range.
No, the way to make friends is a good functioning suppressor.
Exactly.
Which also works excellent as a muzzle brake.
Yeah. So I mean, this thing's got 3 huge chambers on it that come out the sides. So it's obviously taking advantage of the gas leaving the rifle and mitigating that. So you should be able to almost experience a non-existent recoil, according to some of these reviews that I've also got linked in the show notes. We got a guns.com review and also a thetruthaboutguns.com review. Both of them said that the brake does an excellent job making fast follow-up shots really easy. and they let some other shooters, some smaller-bodied shooters that are a little bit more sensitive to recoil, shoot it, and they said that they really preferred it too. So in a competition setting, that's the whole point of a muzzle brake, is to just keep those transition shots and those follow-up shots really fast and easy to apply downrange. So by mitigating as much recoil as you can, and not having to bring your optic back down onto target, or left or right, wherever your recoil pattern is, keeping it nice and steady, so that you can get those double taps in and move on to the next target. So very nice muzzle brake. Yeah, that stock, Armorlight's selling it, but it's designed by Luthar as an original OEM part for Armorlight. So it's like a $200 stock on its own. Provides maximum comfort, adjustability, and precision, just like you'd expect from any other precision adjustable butt stock. So it looks like it does use obviously the rifle length extension tube. It does have key mod on the handguards. I don't know if I mentioned that. So if you're a M-lock guy, you might have to swap that out at some point for a different kind of handguard.
But if you're shooting 3-gun, you typically don't mount hardly anything on the handguard anyway.
It is true. If you've got the only thing I can think of is if you had like an action camera, like a GoPro or a contour camera.
Or if you're shooting open, you can mount a bipod to it.
Yeah, or some kind of like a barricade catcher or stopper, almost acts as an angled foregrip, but it's got a nice spot on the front to really purchase against barricades if you're shooting from a rested position or against like a plywood cutout.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy style, although he just slaps it right on there.
Nothing's more tactical than nothing fancy.
That's right. That's the golden standard, right?
Yes. Larry Victors looks up to nothing fancy.
That's right. That's obviously heavily sarcastic. Sorry for that. The pistol grip on it looks. They don't really mention what kind it is, but it does look fairly ergonomic with maybe some rubber construction.
In one of those reviews, it said it's an ergo grip.
Ergo, yeah, it kind of looked like an ergo.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with those.
Does everyone?
Go ahead, Tony.
Does everyone else has a? I don't have a problem with a A2 grip. Does everybody else have one, or what's the problem with an AR-15 A2 grip?
It's slick.
Yeah, it's slick. It's I don't know.
Okay.
It's stock. Are you supposed to be cool with it? Are you still? It's like rocking the A2 Birdcage flash hider, which you can't. Obviously, I'm sorry for rubbing that in, but
see, the problem with the regular grip is it's not tactical. You don't have to spend $80 on it to put a better grip on there. It does the same thing.
I've got like 8 of them. I can't seem to get rid of them fast enough. I should just give away A2 grips for giveaways on this podcast, just because it just seems like every time I get a lower and I put one of my preferred grips on there, I'm stuck with an A2. I'm like, crap. I should start.
You realize it would probably cost you more to ship it to the winner than it would to sell it.
Yeah, or the fact that it was manufactured probably cost less than the shipping it would take.
Mm-hmm. You can always donate them to the Second Is for Everyone.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that. You can give it away to people. Be like, here's your start of your AR-15. This is a seed. Put it in your backyard, plant it, nurture it, and it'll grow into a great carbine one day.
When I move out of New Jersey.
Sprinkle some springs and some detents over there. Pour some frog lube.
This is the least expensive thing I could give you to be the start of your AR-15. Take this and a detent pen.
Yeah. So, this is obviously a good platform for any kind of optics, being that it's just a flat rail, unobtrusive. In fact, you don't have a top rail on your handguard except for just the very 12 o'clock position toward the end. If you wanted to put flip up iron sights in case your optic goes down during the match, you can or if you're running some kind of red dot, you can co-witness if your batteries die or something like that. So that's a really nice feature that you'll be able to do. But if you want to put like a low magnification scope on there, a 1 to 4 or a 1 to 6 or 2 to 10, or if you wanted to do some kind of red dot of your choosing, this would be still a great rifle to have. Don't let the kind of the almost sniper-looking stop fool you. This gun is going to be very proficient at shooting and moving at the same time. So looking at the reviews, they were saying that the weight, it seems like it's a good balance. It's not too heavy to where it's going to suck, kind of running, short distances with it, going from, shooting stage to shooting stage if you're on the move. And that's not too light that, the recoil kind of takes over as far as it's got enough heft to kind of keep it nice and low and steady. So good balance on their part. It's always nice to have a gun that's built from the factory for a purpose so that you're not slapping on extra heavy stuff on there. If you've got your favorite stock as the Magpul UBR stock, I mean, those things weigh like as much as a car battery, it seems like. So, it's nice to get something complete, and you're maybe not as tempted to like slap more stuff onto it.
It also has a pretty cool adjustable gas block, which a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people know about those or not. I've been reading about them for years, and I thought they were pretty cool because they're like, what, depends on what you get, like $80-$90 for those alone?
Yeah, those are pretty pricey, especially if you're not familiar and you want to, instead of doing a conversion kit on your direct impingement setup. Someone explained to me the practicality of having an adjustable gas block that you can tune for just competitive shooting if you're not using a suppressor.
Well, you said competitive shooting. I was going to say suppression, but...
Yeah. So if you're not using a suppressor, it's just nice to... Go ahead.
You can tone down the amount of gas being fed back, slamming the bolt back into you. That's what I've heard and read about them. So that also is something that just adjusts the recoil for that particular load that you're using to make it soft shooting. Chad, how about you?
That's pretty much it. I mean, kind of the same thing with a suppressed gun. You do it to cut the gas down to make it function without slamming the bolt back. But yeah, you're able to tune it to your specific load that you're using so that it's not slamming the gun around. It reduces recoil because of that. Not that that thing's probably going to have much anyway with that comp on there, but and that's pretty much it. I mean, most of the time you see them in suppressed guns, but hey, for competition they work too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really impressed with this firearm because of the number of accessories that are already on this thing coming from the factory. I mean, I don't even know, using what they used, if you could build this for less money than they did yourself.
Yeah, Ryan, I'd be willing to do a full review of this gun if you could get Armalite to send me one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And the thing about earlier was the front and rear pick rails that it's got on the handguard. I've seen a lot of people on the 3 guns rocking the 45 offset flip-up sights.
Yeah, if you've got a fixed scope on there and you want offset irons so that you can engage those closer targets without having to turn back your magnification. Some people like to do that.
I'm guessing that probably the reason they put the one on the front is so if you do want to shoot this in the like limited classes where you're basically have to shoot iron sights.
Yeah.
And that way you can mount one up front and one in the rear.
Yeah. You can put that carry handle on there if you really want to.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to get the original Eugene Stoner AR-15 look with that.
No.
No.
I just like bringing it up because Tony's always, whenever you mention carry handle, he usually is like, what? No.
Hey, yeah, listen, I'd like to review this too, but I have to drag it behind a truck to make sure it works correctly. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, obviously. So if you want to compare this to some of the other kind of 3-gun marketed rifles on the market, so Colt wants $500 more for something similar. So does JP Enterprises. They make very nice, very expensive competition setups. Stag offers their 3-gun rifle for about the same price, but you don't really get as much bells and whistles as you do with this weapon. I mean, the stock. I think this is either the Magpul ACS maybe, from what I'm recalling from my memory. But you're not going to get all these special features from Armorlight off of the other Stag gun that's the same price or a little bit lower. So if you're definitely looking for the best bang for your buck, literally, I know we say that a lot, but definitely check out this Armorlight M15.
Yeah, like you said, the MSRP on it's, I mean, $15.99 for everything you get is not a bad deal.
Yeah,
well, I
think
think
price, that should come down quite a bit.
Probably, yeah.
I think the big difference with this and other companies is Tommy Thwacker. Is that his name? Thwacker is a 3-gunner. He's the president of Armorlight now. He's an actual 3-gun guy. He helped set FHN up with their 3-gun team. He even started 3-Gun Nation on television. So pretty much this guy's about 3 guns. And he decided to do something. I listened to an interview with him, and he was talking about he decided that so many teams are out there, they have a AR from their company that sponsors them, but when you really look at the AR, maybe 3 parts are built by that company and everything else is aftermarket. He wanted to build an out-of-the-box 3-gun AR from Armorlight, and he did it.
Yep. Yeah, and that actually is a really good segue into the next rifle that I'm featuring, because next one that I want to show you guys was actually something that Bushmaster had rolled out in 2014, so last year. And when you're looking at it, it's got a lot more simplistic parts on there that you could essentially build yourself. Taking a look at it. So what they've done is they've taken, they took some receivers and anodized them with that Bushmaster red color. So that's kind of the biggest, I say, visual draw, is that most guys that run a rifle or shotgun and 3-gun, if it's entirely built by like FN, usually you see like a blue anodizing or something like that. So this has got color on there. I don't know if that really matters to you. It certainly doesn't make you shoot better. But
yes, it does.
Yeah, right. We'll put some flames on there, and maybe you would shoot faster.
If it was purple or pink, I'd probably be more in tune to buy it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's got a Magpul MOE rifle stock on there. Those have been out for a couple years now. I've had one. They're excellent stocks. They're a kind of a Magpul's replacement for the standard A2 buttstock. So it's about the same length. I think there's a small difference there, but it's got kind of a more modern style to it. It's got a nice kind of flared out cheek area, but it's not so big of a cheek weld that it's obtrusive. It's got quick detached points for your sling in the rear of the stock, as well as toward the front of the stock, right by your right under your receiver extension tube where that connects. It's also got a sling loop kind of by the toe of the stock. But one nice feature about it is that it's got storage on the inside. So on the left side of the stock, you can grab it with your thumb and press a large lever and swing the butt pad out. And you've got some pretty generous storage in there. I mean, you can't shove a 10-round magazine in there, but you could put your cleaning supplies, bore snake, lube, tools, and throw some foam in there so nothing rattles around. And you could carry, a fair amount of kit with you. Besides that, it looks like it's got a Magpul Myad grip. And the fore end is a 15-inch AP custom carbon fiber float tube. So that's another one of the big selling points on this rifle, is that the lightweight savings that you get with that carbon fiber forearm, which I'm not really sure that you save all that much in weight savings, because there's a lot of slim-lined, no rails, aluminum options that are pretty light also. It's got a 16-inch mid-length gas barrel, stainless in a 1/8 twist, and that's something that you'll see a difference. A lot of 3-guns are almost always 18 inches with the mid-length. So 16-inch mid-length is a little bit of unusual. Most 16-inch barrels are carbine length. So they chose to go with a little bit of a shorter barrel, but then again, you have a very similar muzzle brake on the end of this thing. It looks like, let's see, what's the name of that muzzle brake on there? Rolling Thunder compensator. I should have recognized that right off the bat. So it's got 3 very large ports in it. It definitely sticks out more than a few inches. So you should be able to fit this in most cases, but it does have that 2 inches shorter, which I don't know if that's really going to play into how you perform necessarily. It's still got that mid-length gas system, so it's going to be a little bit more of a smoother recoil than a carbine gas system, obviously, especially with that rifle length buffer. What do you guys think?
I'll go back to the other one. The Armalite looks like a better deal.
Yeah.
It's red. It'll help me shoot.
But the thing is because of when this came out, the street price may be quite a bit cheaper. We don't know. But basically, you're looking at a direct competitor pretty much with the Armalite. I mean, except this doesn't have an adjustable stock. It probably weighs.
Neither.
Yeah, and it might weigh a little less because of the carbon fiber. But
you're talking $150 more.
Yeah.
For less. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's probably a good rifle, and it'll serve the purpose for 3-gun. But it doesn't have as many features as the Armalite does. So.
Right.
So,
I mean, this was kind of comparing, what last year what was available and this year what's available. But looking at these parts, you can certainly convert any AR-15 with these parts. Easily, you can get these Magpul parts that seem to fit the 3-gun roll pretty well. And if you've got a 16-inch carbine barrel, you're gonna have a hard time really controlling that recoil, even with a really aggressive brake on there. But if you have something that's an 18-inch mid-length, you're good to go. I mean, you could essentially build this rifle, and you can get this AP Custom carbon fiber pre-float tube, just buy that separately and have it installed, or put something else on there.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm looking at this because I have a 16-inch. The rifle I have is a 16-inch mid-length stainless steel barrel with a 1-in-7 twist. So I'm looking at this, and yeah, you're right, Ryan. This gave me some great ideas to do a build with that I can get from Palmetto State for like $700, and then build up from there, probably for less than I'd spend on this.
Exactly.
Even in Jersey, because it has a fit buck stock.
I mean, this handguard is actually kind of where a lot of that cost comes into play. So it's got you can have key mod or M-lock. You can get it in 15 inches, 17 inches, or back down to 13.5 rifle length, mid-length, or carbine length. But it's a pretty expensive handguard. You're looking at between $289.95 up to $343.95, depending if it's 223 or 308. So I'm assuming the 308 one's a little bit bigger for the AR-10 platform. But that's a lot of money to spend on a handguard. I mean, really nice, slim-lined, machined aluminum handguards can still cost less than that. You'd be closer in the under $300 range for sure.
And by that, you were talking about
my question again.
Bushmaster.
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah, because my question would be, how much is that weight savings really when compared to what is it? Something like there are a lot of other lightweight ones. I can't really think of the name. Samson, I think, is the name of one of the companies that makes something called an Evo.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Yeah, they have lightweight 4Ns. I mean, just a lot of companies do at this point. Because thank God the AR-15 community finally woke up and understand they didn't need that much damn Picatinny rail. That they finally lightened all this up.
By the looks of it, I was just looking on the Nordic Component site because they sell that. They sell it, one of the AP Custom carbon fiber, and the 15-inch one weighs 9.3 ounces. And then if you look at like their 15-inch aluminum one, it weighs in at 15.5 ounces.
Okay.
So
it's a 4-ounce difference.
6-ounce difference.
Yeah.
6 ounce. Yeah. Look at you with your math.
So
I can't do math without a calculator anymore. He's smart. That's why he's the host.
Don't swallow.
Well, I only had 5
fingers
on
I can only
these
count to
hands.
7.
Nice.
Exactly.
That's it. Men only need to count to 7. Dang it.
That's right. So anyway, so you could definitely convert your existing AR-15 that you might have gotten for a good deal. So the only thing really you're going to run into is what barrel you have. You might want to upgrade your barrel to something that's got definitely a mid-length. Gas system would be the standard, I would say. Don't attempt to run one with a carbine length. If you're concerned about that recoil, if you're a big guy and you've got a nice break on there, maybe that carbine length gas system is going to be fine for you, but it's definitely going to be less of a sharp impulse having that mid-length on there. So that's something you'll definitely see across the Stag, the Rock River Arms, the Colt, the JP, what was that company? JP Customs.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, you could do that to your existing rifle, take some of that extra money you saved because you're still probably way under $1,600, and then invest that into some other modifications. So if you want a bolt carrier that's going to be a little bit lighter, or the JP silent capture buffer, so that definitely sucks up more recoil. So if you want to build a really 22 long rifle recoil range, although most 223s are like that already, you can definitely go that route, or take that money you saved and get a nice optic.
Or take the money you save and go take someone's class.
Yeah.
Like I know Frank Proctor does a lot of performance shooting 3-gun type classes. I mean, if you want to get better at it, you need to put rounds down range and spend money on a good trainer, and he'll teach you how to put rounds down range more effectively.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm definitely noticing, too, that a lot of these handguards that are railless, or at least very minimal rails, is made so you can do that ever so classy C-clamp grip, or at least help you do that. So obviously there's a lot of competitive shooters that have adopted that and use that a lot. Especially when you're swinging left to right or right to left, you've got more manipulation of the firearm when you've got that kind of C-shaped grip going right over the handguard. So yeah, that's about carbines. I mean, we could definitely have 3 or 4 more shows on some competitive carbines, but I would actually refer you to the AR-15 podcast on the Firearms Radio Network, because they've got a lot more knowledge with AR-15s, and I'm sure they've done a handful of 3-gun related podcasts already. So we're definitely not trying to measure ourselves up to them, but we're referring you over to them for more information. So next we got some gear that's going to help you with your carbine while you're at your 3-gun competition. So this is the we got the Gerber Short Stack, and this is a brand new multi-tool that just came out not too long ago. This is something that Gerber has put together, and it's got a lot of tools in a small package that kind of folds up nicely, and you can store it inside of your Magpul, MOE, or Myad pistol grips. Or if you've got a buttstock with some storage in there, you can toss that in there too. So for $54, you can get this tool. It only weighs 80 grams or 2.8 ounces. The tool material is 420 HC. It features, and I'm going to take a big breath for this because it's got a lot of features. So it features a front side adjustment tool, a bolt carrier and bolt scraper, buffer tube wrench, 7mm wrench for M-lock fasteners, a 3/8 wrench, curb slotted driver, a firing pin scraper, a cleaning cable pull-through handle, a 4mm wrench/bit driver, a 1/2 inch wrench, a 3/4 inch wrench, and two-sided hex bits, a cross driver, and a T10, as well as a 1/8 inch hex and a 4mm hex. That is a lot of tools that, typically you would kind of carry all that in the case in the form of several tools. Now you can have it all in one easy-to-use tool. It's like it's like something Leatherman would put together, but Gerber beat him to the punch.
Yeah. Pretty much. The thing I like about it, besides having everything on it that you need, is that it does fit in the grips. And I mean, so maybe not for a 3-gun, you might not want to keep it in there while you're at a match, but most any other AR, you might want to keep it in there.
Something like this would be handy to toss in your range bag.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably never know it's there.
Not at that point.
The only question I have on this would be that pivot point where it forms the handle. How strong is that?
Good question.
I mean, I don't want to be like a doubter or anything, but that to me would be the weakest point of the whole thing. You don't need that thing breaking while you're in the field, but...
Well, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I wonder if the locking piece, like for the wrench attachment, if it's similar on the other side that we can't see. So it kind of has a little locking piece in there to give it strength, but I couldn't tell.
Well, see, I'm on the other side of this, and I look for a reason why I don't like multi-tools. Reason being, they're compromise.
Yeah.
Like, to something that's better. And it's a little annoying because, but I'm looking at this, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was going, sometimes a 3-gun, you do a lot of traveling, so you want to, reduce that footprint and also minimize the things you can lose. Or if not, you have, your toolkit, but you also have a backup. And this would be awesome because it's so small, it's small enough that you can carry it. It can be that if everything goes wrong, I got my gun, I got my tools, and I'm good to go. So it is what it is, and I think it'll probably work out great as another tool, as a backup to your regular size tools. But really, how many times does your castle nut come loose? I mean, really?
If it's staked, never.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it going, yeah, it's great tools. Wait a minute. How many times do I actually tighten the castle nut ever?
Hey, but if you do break the tool, I'm sure you can send it back to Gerber and they'll fix it.
Yeah. I told you I break everything. I've broken 3 Gerber multi-tools.
And you send them back, right?
No, I couldn't get them back from wherever I threw them after they broke.
Okay, never mind.
I'm just saying. Yeah, they don't tell you about that one during the warranty. Don't throw the damn tool away after you get frustrated because it broke because it was brand new.
Yeah.
I would imagine too that if you're at a 3-gun match or any kind of serious match like that, there'd probably be somebody out there with an armorer's wrench or a full set of tools.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but that's not very self-reliant if you're not having something. I mean, I'll tell you guys a secret I do. Get this, ready? I bring 6 guns to a 3-gun. Like, if you got 2 pistols, Glock 19, Glock 17, bam. If something happens to one gun, you have a backup. I was lucky enough to have, 2 of basic. They're not identical, but bring a Mossberg 870 that you got set up for some, with a longer tube. Wouldn't be a bad idea to have a Mossberg 500 or something in the truck in case something went down, or even if you have a buddy that their gear went down, it's nice to be able to say, hey, I did bring an extra gun, why don't you go ahead and finish your match with that?
Yeah, but like Tony said, if you're flying somewhere, you don't want to take the extra 3 guns.
If only that life was more simpler and you could.
Hey,
load up the little bird and take all 6 with you.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill Zarian. Dan Zarian over there taking helicopters to his 3-gun. I I heard about a 3-gun event because 3-gun breaks down to a lot of things, heavy metals, and of course the different areas. I found something called Trooper. Have you heard of that one? Where you have to have everything, all 3 of your guns, all your ammo, all your everything when you run the stages. You carry all your stuff.
And you have to carry it from stage to stage.
Yeah,
I've heard of
stage
something
to
like
stage.
Yeah.
Sounds like
So
someone
this,
pissed off the coordinator.
well, this would be a perfect tool for that because you're going to have everything, and if your gun goes down, you have to fix it with what you have on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
guess at the same time, if you've got to take off your flash hider or mess around with your castle nut, there's probably something way wrong with your rifle at that point.
Your Franken build just fell apart on stage 2.
Yeah.
And I took a look at the video, and so looking at the design of that not that pivot point, but that axis where you can. It's basically a 3-part tool, and you can interchange those 2 heads onto what I'd call the handle. So it looks like it's got some kind of hexagonal pin that you would then put either one of those 2 head parts on. So as long as that tool grade is hard enough to where that hexagonal doesn't start to round out, so that you start to, every time you really pull down on that, if you've got a really stubborn flash hider that's really mushed down against a crush washer, that might not be the tool to get the job done. You might actually want an actual armorer's wrench and maybe a rubber mallet. But this would be good for a prepper also. I'd get one of these and throw into one of my ARs just to always have a tool that I could use. It might not be ideal, but at least you have it. So if you don't take a range bag with a full set of tools to address anything on your gun, because you should have some replacement detents. If something were to come off your rifle and you lose the detent, you're kind of hosed. Unfortunately, with the design of the AR-15, it relies a lot on springs and detents, especially for safety function and whatnot. So for $54, I don't know if that's something I'd get run out and get today. But if I was kind of meandering through a big box store and I was only getting a couple boxes of ammo and I felt the need to get a much larger order that day, I'd probably pick it up and give it a try just to let you guys know how it is. But there's a lot of AR-15 multi-tools out there that are under $54, and I don't necessarily need it to fit in my pistol grip. I just need to throw it in my range bag. So
Yeah.
At least bring all your Allen wrenches or your Torx wrenches or your hex wrenches for your optic. If you're running a scope and your rings get loose, you really need to have the tools to take care of that. So.
Yeah, and what you do there is you go to your Harbor Freight and you buy the 3-pack of what is it, Allen wrenches, metric and American, and Torx drivers.
Yeah.
And throw all 3 in your range bag.
Yep, you'd be good there. So, I got something next that would be a little bit more practical for you guys. These are magazine extensions from Terran Tactical. I'm not sure if we talked about this on a previous show. I've seen them before, but we're going to talk about them today anyway. So basically, these are offered by Terran Tactical Innovations. That guy makes some awesome stuff. He's a great competitive shooter too, from what I've seen on some of his videos. Basically, we've got, he calls these the Firepower PMAG extensions. So they're offered in flat black, more of a glossy black, blue, red, titanium blue, gray, flat dark earth, OD green, or what I'm going to call the Chad Special, the titanium purple.
Yeah.
So these are mag. They replace your floor plate on your PMAG. They give you some extra rounds, and they also add a little bit of, I guess, textile or ledges when you strip your mag out. They kind of protrude a little bit wider than the PMAG, so it gives you a little bit more of a tactile grip when you're changing out your magazine. So for $39.99, you can get any one of these. We figured out how many rounds they added earlier. So on a PMAG 30, it adds you're able to hold 35 plus 1. So basically it gives you an extra 5 rounds to the 30-round capacity. And then, of course, you've always got one in the chamber if you wanted to top one off. If you've got a PMag 40, which is the much longer PMags, that'll give you the ability to hold 46 plus 1. So you'll get an extra 6 rounds in that magazine plus 1 in the chamber. So obviously having more ammo in your gun is better. But running around with a 50-round drum or a surefire 100-round or 60-round magazine, sometimes it's a little bit overkill, and the weight in carrying that much ammo in your magazine on the gun is actually kind of sometimes more of a hindrance. Having an extra 5 or 6 rounds can actually alleviate if you have any misses, you drop any targets, and you have to, you want to quickly re-engage them. Well, if you dropped 5 shots and you did not have the mag extension, you basically run out of ammo, and then you got to reload if you're allowed to on that stage. Whereas this, it kind of is a little bit more of a saving grace as far as it gives you that extra handful of rounds in your magazine. Plus, it just looks cool. It makes you look more professional. So you got the cool factor there. They're CNC machined from billet aluminum, hard anodized, made in the USA, and they are reverse compatible with the Gen 2 PMags. Obviously, in the pictures, they show them with the Gen 3s. So if you got some old PMags, you should still work on those fine. So what do you guys think?
I think if you're pretty much a 3-gun competitor more than once a year like me, it'd probably be worth the money to get some of these. If nothing else, like you said, they're well made. They add some weight to the bottom, which can help when you're dropping mags. Adding 5 rounds cannot be a bad thing, or 6, depending on what you're doing. So I'd be all in. In fact, I'm seriously thinking about buying one just because.
Yeah. The only thing I wish is that they had some kind of multi-pack, like, 3, and it comes down to more like $30 a piece. So buy 3 for $90 would be awesome.
Even 3 for $100.
Yeah, even 3 for $100 would be a good deal, because then you're looking at over $120 after tax and shipping. So I hate
$40.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more expensive than the magazine itself, which is a little bit. I know Tony's gonna bring that up.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute, it's just the extended magazine kit, it's not the whole mag?
No. The mags are like $12.
Okay, now do you have to buy a new spring, or do you use the same spring that came with your magazine?
You use the same spring.
Okay.
From what it says.
I'm a 3-gun competitor, so.
Yeah, you just pop off the insert at the bottom of the spring and slide on the extension. Use no specialty tools or devices or additional springs necessary. Okay. Yeah, I mean, for this price, if it came with the PMag, I'd be all in.
Yeah, if you buy 5 of them, you can get them for $49 a piece.
Okay.
So I'm thinking I can put this on my 10-round PMag and get up to 15 rounds and still be legal in Jersey?
Possibly.
You can?
I don't know.
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I think if I did something like that, Taryn Butler would come to my house and slap me.
Well, what are they doing up in Canada? They've got those 50 caliber magazines they're using for AR-15s that'll hold more than 10 rounds.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And they also have these available for 308 mags. So if you're running some kind of awesome high power, and you've got an AR-10 or something, you can put these on and extend your 308 capacity too.
Yeah, if you're running heavy metal class or whatever.
Yeah. So,
heavy metal sounds like fun.
So a 20 PMag 20 for 308, it gives you 6 rounds, and a PMag 25, it gives you an extra 6 rounds. So
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. No one's gonna complain about more 308.
No.
Except your pocketbook.
Yeah. And maybe your wife, when she finds out how much she spent for these little milled pieces of aluminum, which I feel like I'm funding the CNC community every time I buy something for a rifle.
Anything. Yeah.
Anything. So yeah, I got the link for that in the show notes. TerranTacticalInnovations.com. They got lots of cool stuff, especially for other firearms. So Glock, XDM, M&P, STI. Terran Butler's got love for all those firearms available in different products. So check those out. Next up, we got a scope. I was looking for a good scope that worked for 3-gun, but wasn't going to break the bank. I know we talked about several Vortex scopes. I've reviewed several Vortex scopes in the past. So obviously the new one that they just came out, the Strike Eagle, would be like probably my number one vouch for a 3-gun optic on a budget. Because it's not that bad priced. However, I did find something a little bit less, and if you're kind of more of on a tighter budget, but this isn't going to be garbage quality scope. This should be a pretty nice scope for you guys. So it's made by Primary Arms. It's a 1-to-4 power illuminated scope. It does have a 30mm tube. So you can have it. You can get it with Butler Creek flip-ups for an extra $9.50. The base price is basically $120, so $119.99. That's a pretty good deal for a scope. I mean, the only way you're going to beat that is if you go with one of the Bushnells that you can get. I think I've seen Walmart carry those, but I don't know if they're illuminated, and I don't know necessarily if you need illumination for 3-gunning in particular, unless it's a nice shoot, in which case having illuminated reticle is kind of nice. It's just cool to do too when you're showing off your gun and someone looks through your scope and you flip that little lever and it turns bright red. That's definitely got a cool factor, but there's a lot of function in that for a low light night shoot.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think the Bushnells are not illuminated in their like 1-to-4.
Yeah.
And in 3-gun, I think the reason you want illuminated is basically then when you're on 1 power at short ranges, it's just like a dot sight, just like your aim point or anything else. You just put the red dot on it and pull the trigger.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, really for what you're getting, if the scope holds up, it's a steal for the price, really.
That's a real good price for $120.
Well, I look at something like this as an entry. You just started. You just got your first gun. You're going to check it out. You don't want to run 3-gun with iron sights your first time out. This is not a lot of money. Worst case scenario, you hate 3-gun. You still got a decent optic. And if you want to upgrade later on when you learn more about it or get more into it, you can. And at least you know what to look for. You have something to base your next purchase decision upon.
Yeah, if you totally hate it, you can always drop it on your like a Ruger 1022 or a kid's rifle or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reviews on Primary Arms seem to be pretty good. Mostly 4- and 5-star reviews. Some saying that the glass is bright and clear from 1 to 4. The Primary Arms has a lot of mounts. They got their own Primary Arms mounts. They sell American Defense mounts, which are pretty awesome. So when you buy this, you can actually bundle it with a mount right from the website. So if you want the Primary Arms Deluxe scope mount for 30mm, that's $49. If you want the extended scope mount, that's $49. If you want just the basic scope mount, $20. They've also got combos for. They've got a Scout 30mm scope mount, extended Scout. They got a Recon. Those are much higher priced mounts. Those are the American Defense mounts, so those are going to be a little bit higher priced. You can add, just regular rings instead of a one-piece mount. You can just get 2 rings. So they got the tactical rings, lows, the mediums, and highs for $39.99. And they've also got the tactical AR height, which is probably what you're going to want if you're putting this on an AR. That's $39.99. So the fact that for $40 you can throw in some high-quality rings, you're going to spend more money than that if you go to the store and you pick up some Warrens, or if the only thing you could find are Night Forces, you're going to more than twice that amount. So the reticle is, I'm not seeing a specific name for the reticle on here. So I'm just going to try and describe it to you guys. So it's just got a center dot on there. It's got kind of thicker posts on the left, right, and bottom. And then the top post is much more of a hairline. So pretty much you're going to be point of aim, have that center dot zeroed to whatever you prefer. But then you've got, I don't know if that's minutes of angle or mils as far as what they're showing, the gaps in between the dot and the posts.
Yeah, I didn't get that, but
Yeah.
I think it's called a duplex. I think the scope is called a duplex scope, I think.
Well, with that center dot, I mean, it'd be like a modified duplex then.
Yeah,
and I think they're MOA probably, because the one points to the dot, and it says 2, so it's probably a 2 MOA dot in the middle.
Yeah, it is. It's MOA. I watched a video by someone that did a review on it. Yeah, it's
Okay.
MOA.
Cool. So it looks like the center dot is a 2 MOA dot, and the half of that is 1 MOA, and then it looks like the width of the bottom post is 3 MOA, and the height of that bottom post is 15 MOA. So you should have, typically you're not going to engage anything in 3-gun with your carbine past 200 yards, maybe 3, stretching it depending on who's setting it up and if they really want to challenge you guys. So it should be plenty enough if you have this thing set to a 100-yard zero. 300 yards, you should just be able to just, give a little bit extra, a couple hairs above the target and still be right in there. But as far as the reviews go that I'm seeing on their website, the only thing is that they're saying it's larger and heavier than more expensive ones from like Burris and Vortex. But they said for the money, just getting started, it's actually a really good mount and it works for them.
Well, it weighs the same exact thing as a Vortex Strike Eagle. 17 ounces for this and 17.6 ounces for the Vortex.
Right. So I don't know whether they're comparing it to like the PST Viper 1-4s.
Probably.
So I think it'd be really good. And also it's nice because it's got a nice reticle on there. You can, when you're not competing, slap this onto a regular AR setup for hunting, and it would make a great hunting optic too. For like hogs or something in a heavier caliber like 300 blackout or 7.62 by 39, something that you're not needing all the dope for making long distance shots. You just want something very fast and easy to sling some lead down range. This would be a good multi-purpose scope for that, and it's incredibly good price too.
Yeah, something like this, yeah, I think it'll probably end up being an all-around scope for someone who really hasn't stepped completely into the 3-gun arena. I think this is a good 100 and change. What is it, $120 scope?
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I see that is kind of questionable is it's half MOA windage and elevation adjustments, but which, if you're shooting a 3-gun match out to like 400 yards, could be a problem. But not enough for that price range that it's going to matter.
Yeah. Oh. Your flip-up caps. Hit the Butler Creeks, because the other ones just end up cracking on you.
Yeah.
You want to say that again? You kind of broke up.
Oh, the flip-up caps for the scope itself.
Yeah.
The reviews I watched 2 of them, and both of them said pretty much get the Butler Creek flip-ups, not the factory flip-ups.
Okay.
For $9.50.
And those are available like basically everywhere.
Yeah, they have them on the site.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
So it's got that
Yep.
24mm objective. In case you're wondering, if you were to look up Burris's flip-up sites, they do make or flip-up lens caps for that 24mm front end. It is waterproof and fog resistant, so not completely fog proof. So obviously it lacks some of those proofs than the other high-end scopes. You know, the Viper, the Vortex Viper PST. You know, it's shock-proof, waterproof, fog-proof, and kind of idiot-proof. Also, if you know, the warranty on this guy is 1 year manufacturer warranty. So if you plan on upgrading in a year or two, this might be a really good option. If you're looking for something that's going to be like on your gun and you want it to serve you for more than 2 years, I would maybe ante up for a Vortex, at least the Strike Eagle. That way you have that unlimited warranty where you could drag it behind your truck and throw it off a bridge, and as long as they can tell it was one of their scopes, they're going to fix it or replace it for you, if it's even fixable. So everyone knows I'm a big Vortex fanboy, but I wanted to give you guys an alternate option from a very reputable company. These guys have been making AR stuff for a while, putting out some great stuff. It's not, I'm not sure where it's made because it doesn't say made in USA. Do you guys know if it's made in the USA or whether it's imported?
I'm guessing most of their
$20.
most of their stuff I think is made in China.
Yeah.
So it's made in China, but it's not going to be really terrible quality stuff. Obviously, there's some quality control involved with Primary Arms, or else they wouldn't have the reputation that they do have now. So,
And to be fair, Vortex, a lot of Vortex is made in China also. They just have a great quality control. That's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think their glasses, well, most Scopes glasses are made in Japan anyway. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that's my optic choice. That's a lot better than what I had a fire field on there, and I think Tony was looking at that last week, and he was like, nah, man, take that off.
Yeah, I do believe I remember him saying, take some explicit scope off or something.
No, not me.
So, yeah, we don't want to lead you guys wrong, and we wouldn't want to recommend anything that we wouldn't ourselves use. So, I'm actually building my significant other. I'm converting one of my ARs into something for her, and she hates red dots because she hates in the bright sun that they wash out. So she wanted something that was more like this, and this is a really good price point. I might end up getting this for her gun because it's such a good price point. I was gonna look at bursts too, but I think I'll take a closer look at both of them. Maybe the higher end bursts. I think it's in like the 280 range, but still this beats the pants off of that. Anyway, so any other comments, you guys?
When it comes to glass, don't go too cheap. There really has to be a bottom price point. What do you guys think? Around this price is about as low as you can go for something like this?
Yeah, I would not spend under $100 on any scope, even for a 1022. I mean, I've got a Tasco on my 1022 that's lasted a while, but you're really doing yourself a disservice as far as just clarity of glass in general. Always gets better when you're spending, in the 150 and up range.
I spent $60 on my center point from Crossman, and I broke it. But the thing with of course, I break everything. You better give me some strong stuff. That's all I'm saying. But Crossman at least has a lifetime warranty on their stuff, which you can get another one, and not much of a problem. All you have to do is mail it to them, and they'll send you another one. But when it comes to optics, the more money you spend, usually the better, until you get into U.S. Optics and Night Force prices, and then you're just crazy.
Yeah. There's a steep incline, and once you start buying more expensive scopes, you get a little bit more comfortable, and you really kind of appreciate the difference. Imagine if you wear glasses going to the eye doctor, and I'm holding up two glasses, being like, well, this one cost $80, and you're looking at it, and it seems like it's blurs everything, and it's not the right prescription. And then he has one that's twice as much money, and it's just perfect. Are you really going to sacrifice and settle on the thing that's, not clear, and doesn't. The purpose of a scope is for you to see your target, and you don't want to, unless you're looking for an excuse why you suck and you can't hit anything, in which case buy the cheaper optic for sure. But I think optics is somewhere that you definitely don't want to cheap out on, and then it kind of trickles down from that. Like, you obviously don't want to get a really expensive scope and then buy a crappy mount, because that's not going to do you any good, because your scope's not going to be zeroed, or not going to hold zero very long.
Now, before Vortex came along, I think the old formula was pretty much spend as much on your scope as you did on your gun. And
yeah, it was actually spend more on your scope than your gun. I remember lots of podcasts saying that was the rule of thumb. If you bought a $1,200 gun, you better buy a scope that costs more than $1,200.
And Vortex kind of wrecked all that because they gave you a lot of scope for the money that you spent. And I think a lot of other companies, after Vortex came out, had to readjust. All of a sudden, Nikon started coming out with their 223 line, and a couple other companies did that. They just dropped their prices because they had to compete, because Vortex was so clear and is at such a right price point. And pretty much, I think they're the standard that a lot of people go by now.
Yeah, and I mean, even the difference between if you've got about $500 to spend, and you're looking at Vortex scopes, you're looking at the PST Vipers, and then you're looking at their Crossfires or their Diamondbacks, like the lower tier of scopes. They're still great scopes. They still got the same warranty. You're going to have a lot of features missing from that you're going to have on the PST Vipers versus the Crossfire or Diamondback. I can't remember which one of those two was the lower tier scopes. You're not going to have the side focus parallax. Obviously, the reticle choices are a little bit more slim, but still, you're going to notice the clarity of glass is going to be different too. I mean, hold the two up in store. Go to the store, look at scopes, because everyone does this, and they're not going to be pissed at you if you want to look through every single scope under the glass, looking at the back of the store. But just look through each scope and notice how the lighting seems dimmer in some than others. I mean, if you're using this for hunting, obviously you want the most light transmission possible. So as long as it's legal shooting hours, if it's a low light setting, either dusk or dawn, it's going to let enough light in. So you can't really go wrong with having better quality glass.
I used to poo-poo this because I like holding on to my money as tightly as possible. Well, I was at Cabela's. Oh. And Cabela's in the I looked at the scopes, picked up Trigicon. I was like, wow, the glass was extremely clear. It actually brightened up more in the room, and then, of course, it had the Trigicon dot in the middle of it, and I think it was like an adjustable 1:6 or something like that, but it was really amazing. And then I looked at the price and had my socks blown off, but there's just a significant difference in the glass, and if you don't spend the money, it depends on your budget. It depends on what you're going to do with it. If you're just getting into a sport and you're not sure if you're even going to like it, yeah, dropping $1,500 on glass if you can't afford it, it's kind of crazy. But you can find something like a Vortex, like even this Primary Arms, 1-4, and you'll be fine. Yeah. At least you'll know what you need to improve on next time.
Definitely. Well, and the fact that it's so nice because you would make that investment. If you ever choose to switch rifles or upgrade rifles, that investment carries on to the next rifle because you just put it on something else. So it's I think if you're looking at getting that $200 custom muzzle brake or getting that really nice handguard for $250, $300, I would make do with what you have or what's lower cost on those items and spend it on the scope first. And then shoot a couple of competitions, and then maybe the next year, if you're allotted a budget, then you can then upgrade those other parts. But don't be in a rush to try and customize and have this look like a Jerry Miculek race gun. You really want to prioritize what parts you invest in right off the bat. So optics, barrel. Yeah, and training too. Don't forget that. I mean, you can go to the range every week and be competent, but if you're not having somebody teaching you the correct positions, stances, and to overall increase your proficiency in your movements and get that muscle memory down, then you're not really going to be doing as well as the guy who is able to afford all that. So.
And one thing I'd say too is don't be afraid to buy used, especially like Trigicon and some of the bigger brands, because most of them, even if you buy a used scope and it's not working, you can send it back into them and they'll refurbish it for you.
Yeah.
I saw somebody who had a Trigicon ACOG refurbished for $160. They went through, just took it apart, tore it apart, put it back together, gave them basically a brand new scope. So if you pick up a used ACOG for $300, put $200 into refurbishing it, you got a brand new ACOG for $600.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff, people, I don't know. And I mean, I might even be guilty of it a time or two. But you need to look at alternative routes if you don't have a lot of money, or if you want to spend your money on something else. Picking up a used scope is great. But being on boards, different boards or groups in Facebook that sell, their firearms, moving back and forth, you can pick up great deals if you know what to look for, and you have a budget in mind that you want to run in. You can pretty much, with ARs.
A Trigicon scope that someone bought. It was one of their the reflex model like you're showing, a 5x16 power. Normally goes for $1,500 as an MSRP. He wanted like $1,000 for it because he bought it and he wasn't going to use it. He said never put on his rifle. So
there you go.
I mean, definitely check out bulletin boards or like Facebook. Join these. There's a ton of gun groups on Facebook where they sell stuff all the time.
Yeah, and a lot of them. I tell you one thing about gun people. Usually, a bunch of decent people when it comes to stuff like this and helping each other out. More so than a lot of others.
And what I've seen too is a lot of the moderators on those groups, if they see you posting a $500 scope for $1,800, they're gonna be like, no, yank it. Or they see you trying to gouge people. Yeah, I'm sorry that you spent 3 times the value of that AR 2 years ago during the Sandy Hook gun rush, but it's not worth $1,800. It's worth $800.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. All good advice. So obviously we wanted to, saying all that, kind of capping off the 3-gun special. We don't have any FI reviews this week. Just been so busy with summer and stuff. So obviously we don't have a special going on for the next episode. So you should be seeing some more reviews from myself next week. We don't have any tech gadget or apps this week. We're kind of running over an hour. I just wanted to mention some listener feedback that I've gotten. Some of you guys have been listening to the podcast, which is good feedback for me because I feel like I'm definitely not talking to a brick wall, so that's awesome. But actually, one of my Facebook friends who also listens to the podcast, Alex Melnichak, he said, "Hey Ryan, just listening to the newest podcast, picked up this little fella up a couple days ago, and he posted a picture of his CZ75 SPO1 Shadow Target 2, which of course we talked on the last episode 96. He said, CZs are great guns, especially the Shadows. Gun feels great, and the factory grips on this model are substantially better than most. Planning to get a few parts from Cajun Gunworks to work the trigger over, and it'll be good to go." So that's awesome that he posted that on my Facebook. Also, I got an email from Matthew from Delaware, Ohio. He said, "Thanks for talking about this gun for the show," and he was specifically referring to the Mossberg JM Pro 12-gauge semi-automatic. He said, "I'm working on putting together a 3-gun rig and didn't know what would be a good choice for the money. You were right. If you look around, you will find some good deals. I got the JM Pro for $569.99 at a local dealer and range here in Delaware, Ohio. That was $30 less than the sale at the large 3-store chain in Columbus area that many people frequent. For the price, it couldn't be beat. Plus, the local store gives the original owner a lifetime warranty on all new guns bought there, so I'm sure I'll be happy with this shotgun." So basically thanking me for bringing that up on the air. I am kicking myself for not buying a JM when I saw it back when I was at Wenatchee. That SPX just sits in the safe. I'm like, yeah, that's cool to bust out on range days. Someone's like, "Oh man, a tactical shotgun," but as far as practicality goes, man, I wish I had that JM Pro instead.
Yeah, JM Pro sound like a fun gun to have.
Yeah. Also wanted to go ahead and mention special events. We already covered all the stuff that we ourselves are doing, but also want to make sure that if you're going to be in the Mount Carroll or just Illinois area on September 19th, going over to the Bullpup Shoot, the 2015 Bullpup Shoot in Mount Carroll, you're going to definitely run into some Firearms Radio guys, Jake, maybe Hank, Hockey. You're going to run into a lot of great people from the network at that Bullpup Shoot. So I got the link, but it's just bullpupshoot.com for more information on that. So in wrapping up, send questions or comments to myself, podcast at firearmsinsider.tv or cross at firearmsradio.tv. So remember to subscribe and leave us an iTunes review. Check out all the other shows on the Firearms Radio Network at firearmsradio.tv/iTunes, and be sure to visit the Firearms Insider for reviews and industry coverage. So thanks for joining us on this part 3 of the 3-gun. Hopefully we were able to educate you in some stuff. If you're definitely not a novice, hopefully we didn't bore you to death or give you some information that you're in the midst of typing hate mail as we speak. So hopefully all that was good information for you to move forward in the 3-gun arena. Final thoughts, guys?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This 3-gun thing was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Tony. That's 3-gun was 3. See, you did a 3-gun in 3 parts. You did it right.
That's right.
Yep. So thanks for having me on, and just get out there and shoot. I'd say don't worry about buying the latest, greatest thing. If you got an AR, you got a shotgun, you got a pistol, go to the range and just try it out once.
Yep, that's exactly right. My first one was just a stock Glock 19. I borrowed a buddy's Mossberg 500 with nothing special on it, and I think I just used a Rock River M4. And I actually placed 5th on that first time, mostly because everyone else all collectively had issues with equipment. So I placed well because my equipment didn't go down. But the next one I shot, I kind of had more equipment, but because they introduced long range instead of shotgun, I actually placed second to last. So it doesn't really matter, like, if you win or not, or you place in the top 10 or the top 5, whether you're last or second to last, you're still learning something. You're still having a great time. You're pulling triggers. I mean, there's nothing wrong with pulling triggers and getting to do something outside of bench shooting. So definitely look up in your area for any 3-gun events or something similar, sanctioned or unsanctioned, because it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, what I've learned doing this journey of mine in New Jersey is, again, gun people are some of the friendliest people. They want you to come out to these competitions. They want you to be involved. And really, one of the ways to not be embarrassed, roll to your first competition solo. Don't bring any of your friends so they don't goof on you. That way, if you blow your back end out and you really suck, nobody you know saw it.
I mean, how many sports do you get involved in where if you break a roll pin or you break a part in your gun, you'll have people out there trying to help you fix it so you can get back to shooting. You know.
I went to my first cowboy action shoot. I thought it was a great idea. They had one close to me, and I called up the number they had. It ended up being the president of the association's home number, and I called him, and he was like, "How'd you get my number?" I said they put it on the webpage. He was like, "Oh, okay. Hey, what's going on? Why don't you come out? It's this day." He met me there, and it was really cool. In New Jersey, you need a firearms ID card to touch a gun. Everybody there pretty much offered me to shoot their guns, but I didn't have a firearms ID card at the time, so I couldn't do it. But it was a competition, and they were willing to allow me to jump in and at least participate with no anything. So these are just some decent people, man. Get out there. Don't be afraid. You don't need the latest and the greatest. Your gun goes down, somebody will probably help you at the place anyway. You might end up finishing shooting someone else's guns.
Heck, even if you show up with no guns, somebody will probably loan you the guns you need.
God, yes.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to step up. What? Don't be afraid to step out and participate.
Yeah, definitely.
The only thing I would advise is just make sure you know the basic fundamentals of firearms and marksmanship, so you don't go out there and do anything really, really stupid,
Yeah,
like
safety.
Yeah,
shoot a
don't-
officer or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
safety is
Yeah,
still
don't
going to
be
be
that guy.
number one concern at any shoot. So, as long as you're competent with firearms and you're going to be safe, don't make the RSOs worry about you the entire time. They're going to be very strict on muzzle direction. Making sure that when you're doing your reloads, when you're reholstering, when you're transitioning, that your muzzle does not break a cone in front of you, so you're not muzzling anyone behind you or being a danger to anyone else behind you. So as long as you're very I guess just mindful of those, I refer to them as just gun etiquette, because if you're being pretty disrespectful and pretty ignorant if you don't know that stuff, if you're new, you got to know it, or else you're gonna get DQ'd. Nobody wants to get DQ'd on their first match for something they were just a little bit naive to.
And usually, people that are regulars to those matches know the new people. And if you're a new person, go up there and just make sure you introduce yourself to the RO or the match director, and they'll make sure they give you, I don't want to say extra attention, but basically extra attention to make sure you have a safe and enjoyable time that night.
Yeah, here where I just went the other week to shoot, Old Bridge Rifle and Pistol Club, they actually would like new people to come out a little early, and they run all the rules down to you beforehand. I mean, just to make sure you're caught up and you're not here on your first match with your head spinning, They want to actually give you time to acclimatize to the environment and to how they run things. Go. Contact the match organizers and go. Stop making excuses and get out there if you want to participate.
Yeah, the worst thing you could do as a newbie is show up and have that false bravado that you're a badass operator and that you're familiar with everything, because they're going to just assume if you look the part and you seem confident that you are, and then they're going to come down hard on you when you're not, and you're being a safety issue to other people.
Whoa, hey, I am an operator. I'm a badass operator. I can operate my remote with the best of them.
That's right. I'll operate this mouse like nobody's business.
You got that right, man.
All right. Well, that's a lot of information and banter for you guys. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at any one of those two addresses that I mentioned on the end of every podcast.
And send out hate mail to Jake.
Yeah, send out hate mail to Jake. And go shooting. Have a good week. Pull some triggers. Stay safe. And I'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.